So, um, starting off, I don't know what to call my thinking. It's clearly based on the works of many much older writers, but the term that I would have probably have used, classical liberal, has been co-opted mainly by libertarians, and the other term they might have used, would liberal, has been co-opted by social democrats. Neither of whose opinions I agree with. So, firstly, aiming at the social democrats, the major problem I have is that people often talk about better employment rights, yet the people that are most suffering and have least are those that aren't employed. And when you give people rights, fixed rights to do work, and those that have least and often typically least able have nothing to do. They have no means of getting a job or improving their circumstances, and this is typically dealt with in the manner that anybody that isn't actually working should get stuff given to them, and just for nothing. Now, I agree that everybody that's not actually got the means to support themselves should be given food and have shelter provided, but it's important to note that that's only the basic human physical living conditions that are being supplied there. There is a necessity for to do stuff so that you have self-value, so that you feel that you're important and you can engage with the rest of society. And if people that are doing some of the simpler jobs have a guaranteed right to do those jobs forever, then those that have no jobs will never be able to have a job. There has to be a means whereby those that are doing the more simple work can get training and start doing more complicated work. And those that have no work at all are given useful activities which actually improve the world, so they feel better about themselves. This is a fundamental right in the United Nations Charter of Human Rights, although it's not enshrined in UK law. Nobody actually works to give people useful things to do. Nobody's actually doing that, and it's a great shame. Society suffers because many people are just treated as if they're incapable of doing anything, and no attempts are made to fill the moral obligation which has actually been enshrined after the Second World War as a right, and nobody's doing anything to fulfill that. And this is where social democratic policies don't make sense, where they say everybody that's doing a job should have the right to do that job indefinitely, forever. If somebody's working as the bins need doing. It's an important job. But somebody that's doing the bins for a while could be trained to drive the truck. And after a period of driving the truck, they could be expected to go and drive trucks in the private sector. They've got a transferable skill. The idea is, if somebody's doing a job, then they should be trained to do something more complicated, which they can then be transferred to the private sector. The jobs that that would make more space for other people who haven't got any work at all to do some of the simpler sections, so say doing the bins. Or if it's sort of clearing up litter, you have a lot of men in their free time picking up litter that are retired. It shouldn't be there. It should be the young guys that haven't got any work at all. They should get get something for actually doing something useful. And the old guys, rather than just sort of going around doing it themselves, they should actually be training and teaching people some of the skills they've learnt in their lives. This idea that we should have a permanent underclass who never have any work, and for some reason, because they're given stuff to actually survive on, they should never look to actually have any self-respect given to them by actually doing something useful with their lives. This is ridiculous. It's totally and utterly absurd. It doesn't benefit society. It doesn't benefit the individuals. If you have no self-respect because you're not doing something useful, it's much easier to fall into doing other things which might not be helpful. You need, if you want people to make sort of sensible changes and move in the right direction, they need some hope that there's going to be something for them to do in the future. when in the situation that we currently have, it's like, oh, you're unemployed, you're never going to get a job in lots of places that are poor in the UK, so there's no motivation to learn or to do anything because they're not going to get jobs. It's absurd.